Hey guys, so every year for Christmas, it's my husband's family's tradition to make almond rings. His grandmother used to make them, his mother used to make them, and now he makes them. So tonight, he's making the yearly almond rings, or they call it, what do they call it?
Boterletter.
Boterletter. I guess there's a couple different names for it. This is the recipe, and basically you have to make everything the night before, put it all in the fridge, and then you bake it the next day. So he's preparing the ingredients for the dough right now to make 6. So he's putting 4 cups of flour, and he's sifting the flour, and he actually uses a little scale to measure out the dough balls to make sure that every almond ring is perfectly the same size. To make the 6 almond rings, the ingredients are 1 pound of soft butter. So he actually put the butter out, 4 sticks of butter. He put them out last night on the counter because it has to be room softened. Apparently it makes a difference if you let it soften overnight on the counter as opposed to putting it in the microwave to heat it up or anything like that. So it's 1 pound of butter, 4 cups of flour, 1 cup of milk, and that's it. That's the dough, 3 ingredients. All right, so we got the 4 cups of flour, we have the 4 sticks of room temperature butter, and now we're gonna put in the 1 cup of milk. Pour in the 1 cup of milk, and this is 2% milk.
Fork.
And he just uses a fork to smush the butter into the flour. And then once you start it off with the fork, it's going to get to the point where it's just going to be easier to get on in there with your hands and just start bringing the dough together and start kneading it. Okay, so once the dough comes together, now you're going to measure out the balls. And he's going to use the digital scale for this because he wants all the almond rings to be pretty much the same size. And what you're going to do is you're going to need 6 balls of dough. And each ball, you want it to be about 7 ounces. And so just measure out about 7-ounce balls. And then at the end, if you have some dough left, you can just put a little bit evenly on top of each one and just re-roll the balls a little bit, just so that all your almond rings are the same size and bake nice and even. And if you don't have a scale, totally fine. These scales are really cheap. You can get them online for I think we got this one for $12 at Harbor Freight. But if you don't have one, just make the balls as even as possible. That's all, even in size. Oh yeah, it's recording, so it doesn't matter. Just go through later and filter whatever. And when you're done with the measuring and the rolling, just put them on a plate, cover them in saran wrap because you don't want them to get dried out, and just pop it in the fridge overnight. Simple. I don't know, maybe I should go look for baskets instead. Okay, now he's going to start working on the almond filling, and this comes in either big 7-pound cans, or you can buy a pound at a time in these little blocks. So he has 2 pounds here, so he's going to break up 1 pound because he's making 2 dozen, so he needed 2 pounds. And you just take the almond paste and you're just going to break it up because you're going to add sugar to this, you're going to add eggs to this. So for 1 pound of almond paste, you're going to put 2 eggs and 2 cups of sugar. So it's 1, 2, 2. 1 pound of almond paste, 2 eggs, 2 cups of sugar. And you're going to smush everything together until you have everything well combined and it forms into a paste. And then you're going to make 6 even balls of the paste, and you're going to refrigerate them overnight, because if not, the paste is super sticky and just falls apart. And you want it to be nice and firm so you can roll it and make long, even rolls to put inside the pastry, and then you roll it into the dough. You'll see. So he's measuring 2 cups of sugar right now. So we got 1 cup of sugar. He never fills it all the way to the top because it is a lot of sugar, but that's what the recipe calls for. And now he's just measuring out the 2nd cup of sugar. Okay, so now he's gonna crack the 2 eggs into a separate dish just to make sure there's no shells in there. And then he's gonna put that into the almond paste. Okay guys, so it's the next day and you want to take out the dough balls 1 hour before you're going to work with them. So we're taking these out now, and in an hour we're going to start rolling out the dough and working on the almond rings. Well, I'm not, my husband is. Okay guys, is getting set up to make the almond ring. So he has 2 baking sheets with parchment paper. He has the dough balls that have been sitting out for about an hour. He has the rolling pin, and he uses this, I don't know what that is, some tray that he got, and he flours the surface, and that's it. He starts it rolling. And you're gonna notice, even after it's been sitting out for an hour, the dough is pretty firm, but that's good. You want it that way because it makes it easier to work with and it's not sticky. So it'll roll out nicely, and you want it to be about 16 inches in length and about 4 inches wide when you're done rolling it. You want a long, narrow piece of dough because then you're gonna make a long, narrow piece of almond filling, and you're gonna roll it.
On the stick.
And then you got to take out the almond paste about 15 minutes before you're going to put it in the dough. So when you start rolling, just bring out the almond paste. Okay, so he said you want to roll it until it's 16 inches long and 4 inches wide. And then you're going to start putting the almond paste in there.
The ends don't have to be 4 inches wide. This, mostly like the middle.
Okay.
This stuff can get a little sticky, so you want to have some
What, the almond paste gets sticky?
Yeah.
Okay. So you put a little more flour.
You put flour on it so it doesn't stick, so bad.
And then you just roll it till it's the length of the dough?
Yeah, pretty much. Maybe a little shorter.
Okay.
It's kind of easier to handle when it's a little bit colder,
Yeah.
It doesn't fall apart.
Not as sticky.
It doesn't get as sticky or fall apart. It's just good like that. I'm gonna take it.
So you take the edge and fold it over the almond paste, and then you just roll it.
Yep.
Okay. And then
I'm gonna like just crimp these edges or whatever, you know?
and then crimp the edges so it doesn't leak out when it's baking.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Oops. And you want the seam that's down here, you want it like tucked in so it doesn't leak out either, you know, just you can always like flip it over if you wanted to and like just make sure like it's a little more sealed, you know.
Do you put egg to seal it?
No, I don't. I put like an egg wash on it when I'm about to put it in the oven.
Okay.
But if you want to make sure it doesn't like leak out, you just
Flip it over and seal the edge.
just kind of like smush it a little bit, you know. As long as the seams at the bottom, I guess it's fine. Should be all right. I'll put in the parchment paper now.
I'll bring it over. So it looks like a horseshoe.
Yeah, or a letter. Like letter C. I don't know.
Or you.
Or you. That's fine.
Okay. Next.
Sometimes the stuff leaks out a little bit, but not bad though. You know, maybe a little bit here.
To me, the stuff that leaks out is the best part. It's nice and crunchy.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And it's like crunchy and chewy.
That's good enough. A little bit wider on some spots. Don't like too thin spots. That's good. My mom does this too, but I didn't learn it from her.
Where'd you learn it from?
My grandmother.
Hmm.
I went to her house and so I want to know how to make this. And actually, yeah, 2 days I think it was.
You went to your grandma's house for 2 days?
She showed me how to make the stuff, you know, the mix the dough and then the other stuff and make the balls, whatever. And then the next day she'd come over and we'll bake the stuff, and that was that. You know?
Nice.
That's not like most time because she's always like, "Hey, put a little of this, put a little of that." But
Cool.
my grandmother, she always, you know, that's why I always went to see how she did it. You know, sometimes she always like she might write it down on a piece of paper, but sometimes she leaves stuff out. So you have to go there and like watch her do it.
So her recipes were missing steps or ingredients.
It could be
sometimes, so that you would just watch it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like how that sounds, but whatever.
All right.
Yeah, that seemed like said that good, but I want more down like in the middle. Don't want to like at the edge and it leaks out then.
Okay, so we're going to preheat the oven to 350 because you can only fit 2 at a time on the baking sheet. So we're going to preheat the oven to 350. And how long do they bake?
45.
45 minutes at 350. So he's just getting an egg right now because he's going to do an egg wash on them before he puts them in.
Eat an egg and...
So his grandmother just used the whole egg. All right, in the oven at 350. See you in 45 minutes. So he was just saying that his grandmother sometimes would make these with macaroon filling for 2 reasons. Because sometimes the almond paste is not easy to find and it's a lot more expensive than the macaroon filling. So there were times if she couldn't find the almond paste, she would just use macaroon filling. And it would still be delicious. All right, so we got 1 batch in the oven. It's cooking right now. We have the second batch right here that needs to be egg washed and put in the oven when the other ones come out. And we're working on another batch. We got a total of, how many are you making?
12.
Total of 12. You got flour all over you.
Hey, forget about it.
Forget about it. All right, holiday baking. So my husband just said, and you should tell them that while they're making the almond ring and waiting for them to bake and rolling out, they can sip on some eggnog. So this is what he drinks. Vanderhout, I don't know. Vanderhout traditional eggnog liqueur made with real dairy cream, spiced rum, and brandy. And he has it on the rocks. So roll, bake, sip on the eggnog. Just a good old time. Guys, the first batch just came out. Look at that. They are super, super golden brown. The pastry is so flaky and delicious. We have to let it cool down a little bit. And then we're going to put it on the rack to cool down further. And then I'll show you later when you cut into it how flaky and delicious it is. And you see that? Those little bits right there? It leaked out a little bit. This one didn't. But this one did. It leaked a little bit. To me, those little bits of leaked almond paste are the best. Because they are... Well, that's really hot. But they are crunchy and chewy and super delicious. See that? Okay. We're going to let them cool down. And then we'll show you what it looks like when you cut into it. So good. Okay, so these 2 are completely cooled. We have these 6 waiting to go on a pan. We have this pan here that we just took off 2 other almond rings. That's cooling because you don't want to put it on a hot pan because it'll start melting because there's so much butter in these. These 2 that just came off that pan that I showed you. So these have to completely cool. And then we have 2 more in the oven that have 18 minutes left. So it's rocking and rolling over here. But I'm going to cut into one of them soon to show you. Okay, so while we wait for the almond ring to cool, cut into it, I'm going to show you the recipe. We'll start at the top. It's for the dough. And again, this recipe makes 6 almond rings. So for the dough, you need 1 pound of soft, sweet butter. So just let the butter sit on the counter overnight. You need 4 cups of flour, 1 cup of milk, and you're just going to mix everything together. And you're going to make 6 even balls of dough. And you're going to refrigerate the balls overnight in the fridge. Just put them on a plate, cover them in plastic wrap. Then for the filling, you need 1 pound of almond paste or macaroon filling, but almond paste is the best. 2 cups of eggs, 2 eggs, and 2 cups of sugar. And you're going to combine all of those until they are well incorporated into a paste. And you're going to make 6 even balls of almond paste. And you're going to roll it, put it on the plate, cover it in plastic wrap, and refrigerate overnight. The next day, you're going to roll your dough into about each ball. You're going to roll it on a floured surface into a flat sheet that's about 16 inches long and 4 inches wide. And then you're going to take one of the almond balls, you're going to roll it into a log and just roll it until it's about 1/2 inch shorter on each side of the dough. And you're going to fold and roll the dough over the paste, crimp the edges, shape it like a U, put it on some parchment paper, and you're going to bake it at 350 for 45 minutes. And that's it. You're done. You have yourself, you're going to brush it with egg wash. And then you're going to bake it at 350 for 45 minutes. And that's it. You're done. That's your Boterletter. Okay, guys, moment of truth. Let me show you how flaky and amazing these almond rings are. You could hear the crispy and flakiness as you break it open. It is so good. You would cut it with a knife, but I'm just showing you by breaking it open, you can hear the crispiness, you can see the flakiness, and you can see the moist, sweet center. It is so good. So these are a Christmas treat, a family tradition that he makes every year. It's never too late to start a new family tradition. Give these a try. We think you're going to love them. Thanks for watching. Bon appetit.